bump into all kinds of people when you're cruising, and today is no exception. Right behind me here is a little boat. It's a Catalina 30. It is right there, and that is Wes and Kate from the famous YouTube vlog, Wicked Salty. Isn't that cool? Famous neighbors. I wonder if they know we're here.
Sailboat in the moonlight and June. Wouldn't that be heaven? Oh, heaven just for two. A soft breeze on a June night and June. What a perfect setting for letting dreams come true.
Chris and I are leaving Spanish Wells today with a little sadness. I was here 20 years ago with a friend and I really like this spot. It's beautiful, but we do have to move on. We're heading north. We're going to the Abacos. I recommend Spanish Wells, and I'm very thankful that I was able to see it 20 years ago.
Well, it's 4 o'clock in the morning and we're on our way to Great Abaco. We're going to tuck into a place called Little Harbour, which is on the southern end of the Abacos. It's quite early. We're basically running by chart. We had to get ourselves out from behind Royal Island, and it's a bit of a new experience for us, but looks good. There are clouds on the horizon and a bit of a rainstorm coming, I think, but it looks like we're going to have a good passage, so off we go.
Chris and I left Egg Island this morning at 4 a.m. We're heading to Little Harbour. You can see I've set a line out. Abacos, but we've made it. I can just see land now, just on the horizon right here's a little bit of rock. We've only thrown up 4 times this trip, so not too bad. And there are the seas we're dealing with. Just coming into Little Harbour right now. It was super rolly, probably the rolliest we've seen it out there, and our engine did suck a little bit of air because the boat was rolling back and forth. Fortunately, the Westerbeeks are self-priming, so if you do get a bubble of air into them, they will clear it out, but it just takes a little bit. Anyway, this is Little Harbour. We're going to grab a mooring and we're going to sit out a storm here.
The old lighthouse in Little Harbour in the Abacos was established in 1889. For the last 130 years, it has stood watch on the promontory overlooking the entrance into Little Harbour. While wandering the site, I couldn't help but think of the families that worked here and the hardships they must have endured.
Well, after a day of sailing, we are finally in Marsh Harbour. You can see all these boats behind me. Now, Marsh Harbour is a very well-known anchorage in the Abacos, and we're joining hundreds of boats. A good place to reprovision, a good place to get fuel, and a good place to look at cool boats. We got some visitors in the harbor. There's La Vagabond just leaving. Bye, guys. If you're living on a boat in the Bahamas, you're going to have to do a little bit of walking to get some food, and well, we like to eat occasionally. So this is the second load we picked up now in Marsh Harbour. And I think this one was like 120, and it was 120 last time, American. Now it seems a little more, but the reason it is because these are islands and everything has to be shipped in. And so anyway, Marsh Harbour seems to be the better of the stores we've gone to see, still more than we're used to paying. But we're going to eat well for a while.
People traveling to the Bahamas are often curious about the cost of groceries, so I'm going to let you see what $127.60 American looks like. That translates to $169.81 Canadian. So here you go. If you'll notice in the corner there's 40 cents because Chris and I went to the grocery store with some cash I had in my bag, and he had some cash in his pocket, and we said it'll be enough. And when we cashed out, I got 40 cents back. It was that close.
One thing you will discover as you're cruising is that as you go from island to island, you tend to run into the same people over and over again, and that's the case with these folks right here. We met them in Castleton on Hudson as they were putting their mast up. We met them again in Georgetown, then to Charleston, and then from Charleston, now we've just bumped into them again in Marsh Harbour, and we're just heading together to go to Guana Cay, where we're going to take part in some festivities there together. I think I can probably come up with half a dozen other boats that's been the same story, that over and over again we run into the same people. The folks on Elixir 5, no different. Generally speaking, they're sailors, so they're interesting to get to know. Another cool thing about sailing with Elixir 5 is that it's also an Aloha 32, so we get to see how our boat sails, and it looks really good. We're going faster than they are. Fisher's Bay, and 4 times we come up, nothing. We've been dragging and dragging, so we're going to try another spot way over. Try to get right out of the neck of things here. But
this is the first time we've ever had to try more than twice, really. Yeah.
I think it's all grass.
It is, yeah, I can see that.
Yeah.
Which is hard, but these people got bites in, but they might have pointy anchors. Ours is a Bruce, that serves us well.
In Guana Cay, we're in search of the vagabond. Let's go find him. We're here somewhere.
That's a bit creepy.
We heard word that they were partying at this pub, so Deb wants to go.
That is not true. I haven't even seen an
Such a
episode
fanatic. Okay, we'll go, dear. But then we're going to go to the boat and eat at home like we should.
Talk to me.